Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm an elementary school teacher, but I'm staying home right now with my two kiddos to run my business and homeschool them. And today we're going to talk about 5 ways to instill money sense and practice math with our kids. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say if you're hearing lots of banging upstairs, my son decided to sleep less than an hour today, so he's still in his room. And I think he's playing with my daughter. But I told them that mommy has to work, so they're not coming downstairs yet. But yeah, so if you hear banging, that's probably it. So, money sense. I'm just going to be frank and say a lot of people today do not have it. I'm a millennial, and I know I would never say anyone specifically. I would say more just as a generational thing. A lot of people in my generation don't have a good awareness of money, but I will say this too. A lot of people in my parents' generation don't have a good awareness of money. I know people in, who are even older than that who don't have a good sense of money. Although I will say that I think the younger you get, unfortunately, as a general rule, not specifically, everyone obviously, but a lot of the younger generations are becoming more entitled and they don't understand how money works. And I want to say there was, might have been a study on that recently. I'll have to look it up, but just what I'm thinking of hearing in the news. But basically people don't know how money works. And that's not something you can teach it in a class, but it will be much easier for our kids to understand if we instill it at a young age. If they understand that, yes, they need to know math, and yes, they need to understand money, because really they're kind of the same thing. Resources don't just pop up. Money doesn't just pop up. And the good news is this is I won't say easy, but it's simple. It's a simple thing to do. So today we're going to talk about 5 different ways to instill that sense of money and economics and just how basic money works. Now, I'm the first person to say I don't understand large scale economics. I just don't. My brain doesn't work like that. My husband has to explain investments often to me. But as far as a micro sense and an understanding of just basic family, the money comes in, the money goes out. I've understood that since I was a little kid, and probably largely because my parents went through a number of really difficult economic times when I was younger. I remember my dad lost his job when I was in kindergarten. I was young. I was old enough to remember. I think it was about 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in there, but I was young. And I remember he couldn't get a job. It just was not a good time for it. And there were 3 of us at home. My mom ran a home daycare center. She's also a teacher, but she had taken time off to stay home with us. And she ran a home daycare center. And so thankfully that was bringing money in. But my dad was mowing lawns, and he was mowing lawns for really, really small amounts of money. And so I started to learn from a young age when my mom took the calculator to the grocery store and would put stuff back because we went over the limit, that money is not unlimited. It doesn't matter how many times you swipe the credit card, there's still numbers behind it. And that was actually good for me. It's something that I'm hoping I can instill in my children, because you don't want your children to go through times of need and times of want, but you need to prepare them for it. We need to be prepared. And this is the best example right now is, unfortunately, a lot of families, and many through no fault of their own, they don't have savings. And there are a number of families who don't understand how to cut down, and really they don't understand how the numbers work. As far as, if you don't have money coming in, you can't have money going out, and how to keep savings and why we need to keep savings. And so this isn't to make anyone feel bad who's having money problems. That's totally not the purpose. The idea behind this talk today is how to help our children prepare for a world in which they will need to understand money. And that's something we all need to do. And step number 1 is easy. Step number 1 is to talk with our children. When I knew kids growing up that they would go to the store and anything they asked their parents for, they got. And I was in awe because, my mom was putting stuff back on the grocery counter because we couldn't buy that extra box of pasta. And, it was baffling to me that they could just have anything they wanted, because to me, I thought, well, don't their parents know that costs more? And so the first thing is to talk with your children when we're going to the grocery store, when we're buying online. Right now it's a little harder with buying online, but when we're at the store, I will talk to my daughter, and she might ask for something, and my kids are pretty good about not demanding. Well, not my 2-year-old, he's still young, but my daughter's pretty good at not demanding things at the store. She may ask, but she very rarely gets upset when I say no. And so, we'll go to the store, and she might ask for, I don't know, a special candy. And I that's the best time to answer is to, not today. We're already spending quite a bit. We don't want to spend too much money. And I know too much is a very vague term, but beginning children with the idea of enough, not enough, too much, it's the essentials of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just language. Just using the language with them to establish the idea that, we can't today because we're spending too much, or I have a budget for today. Today we can't spend more than this. And so helping children to just understand that there are not unlimited quantities of everything we want. And so that's what you can start with your kids, is take them to the grocery store. Now, we haven't been going to the grocery store as much lately because my son is medically delicate. And so we've been, we had a really bad housing situation at our old house where we're getting sick all the time. And my son is prone to a number of health issues, unfortunately, partly due to that. So we've been doing a lot of shopping at home, but it's still, when I go to Target, and I'm pushing them in his stroller and he's not touching all over the cart, my daughter might ask for something in the dollar section, and I'll say, well, we don't really need that. That's not something we really want to spend money on today. It's too expensive. And she asked me, what's expensive? And so we've actually had the conversation several times, because expensive, that's not an easy concept when you're trying to say it costs too much money. Well, why? What's too much money? And so we've talked about, you want to spend less money if you can, not more. And the coin jar is one of the best ways to display this. So your kids, when they need to start having a sense of numbers before you can get to all of these steps, first step is just discussing with them the idea of not enough, too much. Another step is going over the idea that we have this much money, we don't have any more. We can only spend this. So I'm going to combine steps 2 and 3, because step 2 is having a sense of numbers and understanding the 1-to-1 ratio. 1, sorry, you can't see that. 1, 2, 3. My son is still working on this. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'll just keep going. He only counts right at 60% of the time. He's getting there, but he's still 2. So, having them understand 1/4, 2/4. Actually, the better one to start with. Sorry for the noise here. Where did they? Oh, it's at the bottom, of course. Pennies. So pennies, best way to start. Now, you of course want to make sure your child is not going to swallow these. My 5-year-old is not going to swallow pennies. My 2-year-old would. So he's not supposed to play with the coins unless someone's right there. But understanding, 1, 2, 3, and then, okay, say you get to 10. If you go to, I don't know, a store that still sells, what do they still sell? Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls, I think, are like 10 cents a piece. They used to be. Having them actually count out the money. They can't buy the big Snickers because you can't buy big Snickers with 10 cents, with 10 pennies. And the nice thing about money is it's all in, all based on, it's a base 10 system. 25, quarters are a little harder, 50-cent piece. But, when you're working with 5 nickels, but when you're working with just pennies, dimes, and dollars, really simple. And so I'm going to combine the sense of and having a sense of numbers and a ratio of 1-to-1 with number 3, which is give them money. Now, this does not mean you give them whatever they want. It means if they get money for Christmas, they say they get $1 from an aunt and $2 from grandparents. Some parents don't like to let their children have money at all. I disagree with that, because the best way to teach children the concept of want is by saying, hey, you don't have enough. You want to buy that ball. That ball's $5, but you've only got 3. But If you save your money, you already have 3. You want 5, but you have 3. So we need to get 1, 2 more dollars for this. Now, I don't, when my daughter buys things, I pay the taxes. If you're in a financial situation where you can't, well, you can't. Just that's the same kind of lesson. But helping children understand, giving them money is really important as soon as they're old enough to understand. And really, you can start this young. My grandparents are very generous. They send her money for like Easter, and what else? St. Patrick's Day kind of stuff. But she gets money. She gets money from my grandparents. My whenever we're in Las Vegas to visit my family, because I'm from Vegas, they will. My parents let her work now. They pay her way more than I pay her for chores. I usually don't pay her, but if I do, I'm like, hey, you can have, and I look at what I have, I'm like, oh, there's a nickel. You can have a nickel if you unload the dishwasher. My parents are generous. Their grandma and grandpa, they give like, here's a quarter for feeding the dog, and here's 75 cents for picking up the toys. I don't know. They're very generous. Here's $1 for feeding fish. So she'll usually come out with like $7.50, $8 just from working in my parents' house. But the concept is she knows that if she works, she's going to get more money. And with more money, she can buy more things. And I know this is sticking because we went to Disney World last year. I had a work conference. I'm a writer. I write, if you don't know, I write fiction. That's my main business platform. This is my new one. But I write fiction, and I had a writer's conference in Florida. And so we thought, well, get the military discount. We're already there. We're never flying back to Florida just for Disney World. So let's just go over there. And so we went. And I'd been telling my daughter for months since we bought the tickets, hey, save your money. Disney World's expensive. If you want to buy toys there or jewelry or the fun stuff that they have, you're going to want to save your money. And I know it clicked because, oh my gosh, it was such a proud mom moment. We were at one of those big traveling consignment sales, and I buy the kids' clothes there for most of the year still. And my daughter found this really pretty princess scooter. Like, it was nice. It was $8. It was a good kind of toy. I don't let them have many electronics, so that was a great toy. And she found it, and she picked it up, and she said, Mommy, can I have this? And I said, well, you have money. The question is, do you want to spend that money now, or do you want to save it for Disney World? And she actually carried it around with us for about 5 minutes, and she finally said, you know what, Mommy, I want to put this back because I want to save my money for Disney World. I was so excited because it clicked. But the whole concept behind letting them have money is not giving them money whenever they want. It's allowing them to hold it, because there are, again, some parents who won't let their kids hold any money. Mine have piggy banks. Sometimes I'll pay for extra chores if she's feeling particularly helpful or wants more money for something. I will say, hey, you can unload the dishwasher. I'll give you a dime. As they get older, obviously, they probably won't want to work for things that are so cheap. But, she's 5. And so letting them earn money, letting them save their birthday money, maybe setting goals. Maybe if they are one of those kids that are really, really, really motivated by, by goals or prizes. I don't know. I mean, some parents, if they promise, hey, if you read this set of early readers, I'll give you a toy or a doll, a car or whatever. Maybe your kid just wants money. I don't know. It depends on what works for your family. I'm not suggesting you pay them to learn everything, but if you have one particular thing that they're really struggling with, that they can't get, and it's the light at the end, you need to create a light at the end of the tunnel. If they really want $5, maybe save $5. Now, make it clear, we're not going to do this every time. This is special. You don't want your kids to think that they just get money for going to school. That's a terrible idea. The kids need to learn to learn for the sake of learning. But again, sometimes you need that extra nudge for something that they don't really want to learn, but they need to, and nothing else works. Sometimes you just have to make exceptions. Sorry, I digress. But anyways, letting them have money is so important. Now, learning, again, the concept of too much, not enough, just enough, very important. So letting them get their money and letting them spend it. Now, my daughter is working on her base 10s. Now, this is the hundreds chart that I created that you can get free if you sign up for my website at brittanypearl.com. This is one of the free printables, and so this is just a basic the basic hundreds chart. This is your tens column, ones column, and it's you've got your columns and your lines. But the amazing thing about using money for this is that you can kill two birds with one stone. You can use base 10 blocks for this, which are an amazing tool. I use them with my daughter. But so what I've started having her do, and I'll try to, can't really tilt the camera, but what we do is we talk, okay, this is a 10, this is like a 10 stick for a, you know, the base 10 blocks. There's always 10 in every single row. There are 10 numbers. All the numbers that end in 0, that's one of your 10s, and she can count to 10 or count by 10s to 100. So I've started telling her, now you don't know if you have a 10 until you reach the end. So what I want you to do is I want you to put numbers or put pennies down on the numbers, and whenever you get to the end, instead of putting a penny down at the end, oh, we could put a penny here. I'm gonna put a dime. This is a 10. A dime is 10. And so what we do is I might give her a number like 43. And so she has to fill all the numbers until we get to 43. And so this morning, oh my gosh, it was another moment where it just clicked and I was so happy. She was just putting pennies down for fun, and we had gotten to like 46. And I said, well, what's this number? And she said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, let's count your dimes. And by then she'd filled, you know, I'll find some dimes here. She had filled 4 rows. And I've always told her when you get to that 10, you can take the rest off. So she counted 10, 20, 30, 40. And I said, okay, so let's go to the next line. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 45, 46, 40. Oh, 40. I can't count today. We have been to 46. I need to sleep more. Anyway, so this is how you can practice base 10, which, you know, that's what our counting system is based on, along with money. Now, the awesome thing is that I've told her, we haven't reached dollars yet. I've just told her, just so it's, again, she's heard it before when she gets there. When you get to 100, you have $1. And we pull out the green dollar. I say, this is $1. Now, $1 is the biggest one. The penny is the smallest one. We're not doing nickels yet. We're not doing quarters yet. We're just working with ones, tens, and hundreds, because those are a little easier to deal with. Different kids will learn different ways, and you know, you might have a curriculum that teaches them differently, but this is just a fun way to practice and helping them understand, again, money at the same time. So we count her money with her sometimes. So she pulls out her piggy banks and we dump them upside down and we go through. And so, you know, you can have your child make stacks of 10 pennies if they want to count. You know, if they can count by 10s, make stacks of 10 pennies. And then you can count by 10 since, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, we have 40 cents and pennies over here. So using these to teach base 10s is a great way to double. When they get older and they've begun to understand that, you know, if this is $5, hey, look, it's you know, we can pull up five of the dollar bills. You can really start to practice this with decimals, percentages, fractions. First of all, decimals, you know, 5.34, that says $5.34. 34 because, oh, look, the 34 cents, we are not all the way to 100. So we don't have 6 yet. We're only at 34 cents. We're not to another 100 to make $6. So we have 5 whole sheets, so 500s and 34 left over. So if something's 5.34, or so that's the basic way to start. And you know, again, just combining the two is with those decimals. And then my daughter's not that far yet. I'm not ready to introduce her. That will frustrate her. And then you've got percentages for coupons and sales. You know, this is 50% off. Let's do the math for that, 50% off. So you're leveling up as you go. My 5-year-old is not ready for this. You know, kids are going to be older when they discuss this kind of stuff, probably more 3rd through 5th grade, depending on when they're ready. But yeah, so really instilling a sense of money in children when they're young is so important, because they're going to be so much more prepared and more equipped to face the world as they get older and understand that, yeah, just because they get a credit card when they're 16 or 18 or whatever. How old was I when I got my first credit card? You know what? I was in college. I started college when I was 16. one of those dual college high school course things, but my parents wanted me to get a line of credit, and so they gave me this, but they were very clear and they helped me understand this is not credit cards, you can't just spend it all. You have to pay off whatever you put on. So I literally only put on my college books, and that was all that I put on that credit card. And of course we immediately paid it off. But, talking to them as they get older, making sure that they understand when mom swipes the credit card, a credit card is not a magic little piece of plastic that gives you whatever you want. All it is a stand-in for the dollar bills. So again, I've given you five ways to integrate money into math as kids get older, but really it all comes back to that back to the discussion, back to talking about, as kids get older, budgeting, which again, budgeting starts at, what are you paying for? Does your family tithe? Do you give 10% of what you make? Or you save. My parents, when we hit a certain age, made us start saving 50% of whatever we had for savings. And then they let us use our savings in college to help pay for college. So it was really nice. We knew we had 50% was ours, 10% or 50% was for savings, 10% was for tithing, and then the rest was for us. And we didn't love it. we liked having money to spend, but it made us very aware of money when we were young, and it made us desire to get jobs. We wanted to get jobs when we were younger. We wanted to make money. I loved babysitting. My brothers cut lawns. And it really set us up well for the future, so that thankfully none of us have gone through how hard it was for my parents when we were younger. But some of that's largely because my parents prepared us for it. They taught us how to pinch a penny, how to make sure you're not spending yourself into ruin. So anyways, this is just a concept. It's not something you're going to teach once and get done. It's not something you're going to do in one grade and get done. It's something that should be brought back every year. From the time they can start to count. Or even the time they can start asking for things in the store. My son will, he'll see a car and say that, and I will say, not today, we bought one last time. Again, that's very vague language, but understanding that you can't just have what you want when you want it. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you sign up for my website, my newsletter, you can get this. You're going to also get another free printable. And then I'm working on other ones that I'm hoping to do videos on soon as well. But anyways, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you're doing okay with the quarantine and the unfortunate difficulties that have been put on many financially, physically, emotionally. This is not an easy time. And I think that, again, just a reminder, the great thing about homeschooling, whether you're homeschooling by choice or by force, is to remember that no one's going to get everything perfect. I think we think our teachers go to school sometimes and they've got everything memorized and they know exactly what they're doing and all their lesson plans go the way they're supposed to. No. I can tell you, as someone who's been in many classrooms, that a lot of lessons don't go the way they were supposed to. Kids don't learn everything the first time. There's a lot of recouping, and it's going to be the same thing in homeschooling. So if your child doesn't get money the first time, it's okay. Just keep talking about it. You'll figure it out. If your child's not getting spelling or reading or something the way you want them to, take a deep breath. Try a different way. Try to introduce it a new way. Go maybe find a different curriculum, but see if there's a different method you can find here, on other places, in YouTube, on Pinterest. You're not going to get it perfect. I don't get it perfect. No teacher gets it perfect. We're all human. If you like this video and you find it helpful, please like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date. That helps me with keeping up my platform and continuing to build new material. And like I said, subscribe to BrittanyPearl.com. That's BrittanyPearl.com. You can also email me at Brittany.pearl.teach@gmail.com. I don't know why that's so hard for me to remember. But yeah, so like, subscribe, and then go to my website and subscribe there to the newsletter, because I'll be sending out information as I get it. And that's my call to leave. All right, bye-bye.